Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model Railway. Today's lesson, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a test file to print off the chassis for the crane. I'm going to make a few changes to the underside. I've had a look at some of the measurements and I'm going to create a couple of channels for the wheels to sit within the underframe here. So I'm going to cut those channels into the chassis. Then we're creating the test files that I can print out and then see how the arrangement we're going to have with the solid frame and the bogie is going to work, and whether we're going to have to make some changes to that. So before I go further, I'm just going to turn off the crane body and the runners so that we're not looking at those, and make sure the radio button's checked on the chassis. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to make some changes to the underside. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to where the mirroring that we did was towards the end actually. That one. So I'm going to roll the history back to this point here. That's what I'm after. And then I'm going to create a channel on the back here. So just create a sketch on this undersurface here. And I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm going to run it from that corner to that corner and just going to come 3.5 millimeters across. It should be enough room for the wheels to sit. Just define that length there. And then we're just going to extrude this upwards into the chassis. So we've got quite a lot of room within the chassis here. So probably come up a couple of millimeters, gives us plenty of ample clearage at the top there. There'll be plenty of room here in this area here. Just wondering whether actually I want to, maybe I actually want to just extrude this ever so slightly. Give a little bit more room, clearance there for the wheel coming round in this area. If I just do a millimetre there, that should give us the room. And then we're going to do a similar thing on the other end here. I'm going to bring a sketch on this end here. And if I just line up and put it something like that. Extrude that to that upper surface there. Select that. Distance I want to be. Select that. So let's just turn that around slightly as extruding this. Okay, now if we skip the history forwards, it'll take a little while to compute all everything working back its way through. Okay, so we've got a combine issue here, what's going on there? That's fixed, it's just redoing it, just stuck on the combine there by the two. Okay, I might turn the bogey off. What I might do is just put something underneath. I'm looking underneath here and thinking maybe I want to put a little rectangle underneath there. I'm doing is just creating little rectangles underneath this pivot point, so it's supported underneath. I'm not worrying too much about the dimensioning of it because it's not going to move anywhere, and it's just add that little bit of support underneath here so this bit doesn't float around. Okay, now if I look at the bogey, my concern here is how much room we're going to have from the centre point. So if we turn everything else off, and if we do an inspection, section analysis from that surface, drag that across. So my concern is, of course, sketch on that surface. My concern is from this centre point to there is only just under 3 millimeters. Now, 6.1 wheel would obviously plus the flange is going to be hitting here. So looking at a 6.1 mil wheel, including the flanges, you're going to need 3.7 millimeters of clearance. So we're pretty much going to be losing the majority of this wall thickness. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe just cutting out quite a bit of the end of the bogies here. Escape all this. Use that sketch and lose the sketch there because we didn't have to create anything on it. And then if we turn off the section analysis there. Okay, so the body back a second. So it's what I'm thinking, we're going to have to cut out the majority of this. It's still going to have the support across here, so that won't be an issue. We're just going to lose the effect of the bogey being solid at the end. But needs must, as they say, so we'll just extrude, we'll cut the ends off here. You know, if it's a case of having that compromise and being able to use this, or having that frame, I'm gonna lose that frame every day of the week. It's not that integral to the overall look. What I could do, once I've printed this and I've done the test, what I could do is potentially run something from the top of the bogey and then just miss out like a hole on each side. But I'd rather print that out first and test it like this and then see where we go from there. We're going to have plenty of room on this side, so you know, where we are at the moment, I think that's going to work. The only thing I've got to do is find out why that's not combined. What I could just do is, that's on the bogey, so it's going to be that and that. Just take the join. For some reason it's got myself confused. Okay, so let's export these. So if we do save, and then file, and 3D print, turn it off. I want to do that one. Let's create that as chassis. Folder. I'm not going to worry about the bogey pin because for the moment it's more a case of making sure the bogey rotates rather than actually whether it will hold in place. Okay, so that's those two exported. Okay, so jumping into Chitubox, let's bring the files in. Print files, chassis test 1. Okay, so we're going to rotate that on the blue axis I wanted there. Come back to that on 0, good. So rotate it on the Z axis 90 degrees. Okay, I'm wondering which way up to print this. Thinking the best one will be to flip it over. Yep, and then rotate it and go that way. Because I'm just doing this as a quick test, and normally I would probably, I'd probably print it somewhere like 30 degrees, but I want this to literally just print really, really quickly. So I'm only going to go maybe a 10 degrees angle. Okay, I'm not going to rotate it any other directions. Let's support it. So start with mediums. I'm just going to support the main chassis to start with. I'm not worrying about scars on this top surface of the chassis, although this is the visible side. It's going to be pretty much flat, I think, once I've finished. So filing any scarring off isn't going to be an issue. Throw some support underneath. Maybe a little bit too far apart there. Okay, flat on. Okay, throw some in here. Okay, so you can see those medium supports. I've got a contact depth of 0.4 millimeters, sorry, diameter of 0.4, contact depth of 0.15. I'm using a cone connection type with these diameters. Upper is 0.4, lower is 1.5, and connection length is 4 millimeters. Minimum length of the supports is 5 mil. So that's going to be the height at which it is from the bottom of the print to the bottom of the cone is 5 mil. You can see that the densities, these are for the auto supports. The angle's 90 degrees for the model. And then these are the middle settings. So 1.2 diameter, that's this part here. Again, this is auto supports at the bottom, so we don't need to worry about those. The bottom, what we're looking at here is the touch diameter, so this is the square at the bottom, the thickness is 1mm. Contact depth is how this part here connecting to the raft at the bottom, and how many contact points it's got, and then the actual size of the raft at the bottom here. I'm printing with 0.3mm layers, and I find these work the best for me here. So let's now support some of these lower details here. So again, we're using medium supports here. I'm just going to stick one on the bottom edge of the buffer here. And then I'm going to go get a couple of light supports. These are going to be a bit of a pain to get in. I'm going to go one at the bottom there, one at the bottom of the lamp iron there. I'll take them all around. Do the same on there, on the bottom of the lamp iron. Okay, we're probably going to need to support under here. As well. That one's probably not in the right place, let's delete that one. Let's try again. Right, that's better. And I'll throw one in the bottom of the buffer there, and then we'll just rotate that one, make sure they're not touching. Yep, they're clear there. They're clear. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drag these ones out slightly. Grabbing the lower part, I'm just pulling it away from the model. I'm going to do the same. That one, I'm just going to pull it away from the model. That one there. This one actually can go back in. It doesn't need to come away. It's not actually close to anything underneath. But it's, yeah, this one connects to the bottom of the buffer. You don't want it to be sitting too close because it will just fuse into the model. Okay, I think that's all those there. That should be okay. I've got a horrible feeling these all might need a little bit of supporting. I'll have a look in the Chitubox software in a minute. Okay, let's put a couple of supports on these. Need one on the bottom of each of these, and one on the bottom of each of those. They should be fine because they'll be connected at the top there. Okay, so that's that one. Move that over to the side. Let's import the bogey. We'll do the same with the bogey. Let's flip that over. No, actually, that should be fine. That should be fine that way up. We'll rotate it. Actually, that's going to print better the other way up. Yeah, that's going to print better that way up. Okay, support this. So medium supports, get right in that corner. throw a couple of light supports on these bits here. Just because they're hanging out like that, they should be okay because they're supported as it joins the main part of the chassis there. Wheel support under here as well. Again, I'm not worried about scarring here because obviously it's not going to be seen, but I can file this off flat without any issues. Okay, so let's have a look at that in the test software. So slice this up. Three and a half hours to print it. Save that. File. Put in the same folder. And we'll have a look in the file validator. Just waiting for it to save the file here. Most of these should get fixed. There'll be a couple you might have to do something about. So I think these could end up being. Okay, so let's work its way through. Let's have a look at what we've got. Okay, so that is literally nothing. So we can go around in the software, we just take that out. Again, that's a nothing one. Same there. These are just odd pixels which are floating around. You can see that they're actually doing nothing because the next thing up is absolutely fine, so I'm not worried about these. Again, I can fix that, just draw a couple of things. I'm just running through these quickly to make sure there's nothing that stands out that's going to need a massive rework and supports before I do these. Okay, so these are all going to be pretty good, easy fixes. So you can see it's just going to go in, turn off these single pixel ones that are doing nothing. Same with this, it's not doing anything, just like a cross there. All I'm doing is I'm just using the white mouse button as I draw across the pixels, turns them on or off as I click on each one. So I could just do that, draw it in, and now it's supported there. Like that. It works either direction, either deleting them or adding them. Okay, so this one is part of design, so I'm going to just connect there, connect there. If you look at the next one up, that's already then connected in the same direction, so it's not going to be an issue. Same here, you can just connect these there, and it's connecting there on the next level up. It's already connected on the other side absolutely fine, so it's not going to be an issue at all. Okay, so this is part of the shackle. So if we look at the next one up, it swells that way and that way slightly, and the next one up it completely connects. So what I'm going to do is draw there and there, and then it's supported. And then I have to do the same on the other side of the wagon. Oops. Go back. Just going to turn these ones off, because on the next layer up they get taken in anyhow. So that's connected on that one. So again with these ones, just because it's just a couple of pixels, you ain't going to notice them because they're 0.04 millimeters. No, 0.004 millimeters on the pixel size. So you ain't going to notice a couple of pixels turned off. And then, as I say, on the next one, they're either not there or they're supported. So, okay, so this one is all part of the next shackle up. So again, just going to connect like that. And then the next layer up, I'm going to go and do the same again. And I know this is cheating, but you're going to lose the detail if you go in and add supports here, or you may have to change your drawing to reflect this. Again, this is part of the shackle. You can see within a couple of layers, it's all connected anyhow. So those couple of pixels that are adding in supports here, you're not going to notice them, and you can clean them out with a little bit of file if you need to. Again, it's part of the axle, so we just support those in there. And the next layer up, as we can see on the next layer up, they're already connected there anyhow. Same with this one. Add those in there, check the next layer up, yes, they're already connected. This is part of the shackle on the end, so we'll just connect there and there. Just check the next couple of layers. Okay, so that's all sorted now. Save that. You can see here what I've got as my settings. So my exposure time is 10 seconds, off time 6.5, bottom exposure 90, 5 bottom layers, and then I've got the lift distance. So you can see all the settings here. You can read them for yourself, and you can change yours to match if you need to, if you wanted to. I'm using an Anycubic Photon. That's the original version, and I'm using Anycubic's white resin. Click on OK on that, and I'm going to set that off on the printer, and I'll let you know how that comes out.